folks, my name is Tom Vassell. Welcome to Crowdsurfing. In this show, we take a look at the current state of Kickstarter and other fundraising programs, talk about board games and card games that are on them. We got news, we got contributors to this show, so we're going to jump right into it today with the news. Well, there certainly is a lot of projects on Kickstarter right now, so let's get going. Barbarians, The Invasion. This is from the same designer who did Hyperborea, worker placement, area control, and a ton of miniatures. This one is getting a lot of positive buzz. Of course, most of the time with previews, you're going to get positive buzz anyway, but it looks really cool. I'm especially intrigued by the worker placement spinning volcano mechanism in this. Where it looks like the way it moves is where you place your workers. I don't know. This one looks incredibly good. Then we have Gamboni, Godfather of Board Games, Epic Mafia War. Too long of a name. But I looked at it because I like the idea of mafia games. And Steve Avery, who's my co-designer on Nothing Personal, a mafia game that we did, said he really enjoyed this. It does look good. My only hang-up on this one, my concern on this one is that it's darker theme, right? Mafia is kind of a dark theme anyway, but this one really brings it to light with drugs and with strip clubs and things like that. So we'll see. Galaxy of Trian New Order. Now, as far as I can tell, this is an updated version of Galaxy Trian, which I reviewed back in 2015. But this one it was a tile-laying game. Where you're building galaxies and nebulas and stuff. And I remember liking the game, and I said the biggest problem was it kind of looked like a Kickstarter, kind of felt like it wasn't completely developed. This one may have finished a job to some degree. There's nice plastic pieces, there's special abilities for the different races, and so I'm really hoping that this is a better version of that one. My Kickstarter of the week this time is Alone, an asymmetrical survivor horror dungeon crawler with lots of miniatures and things like that. Now, asymmetrical dungeon crawlers are not that unique, but what makes this one fascinating to me is one person is going through the dungeon. The other three, it's like you're going up against three overlords. So they're working together to stop you, and you are using deduction and logic to figure out which way to go to avoid monsters. You're not like a hero either. I think you're just some dude who's going through it. I love that whole concept. I'm hoping it works well. I'm hoping that the three overlords each have their own, specific vision. I hope it's not like one person is like, everyone, let's do this. And you're like, yeah, that's the great idea. But it looks great. Definitely one I'm excited about. Kanja. This is made from the same people who made Ancient Terrible Things. You can tell because it has the same graphic design and artwork, which I really found charming in Ancient Terrible Things. A cool Cthulhu-ish horror-themed game. Kanja is a two-player pressure luck style game where you're each a shaman wizard. You're kind of fighting each other on it. Again, I'm mostly basing my thoughts on this one based on the last project that they did. American Revolution, Commands and Colors Tricorn. This is a new system from the Commands and Colors by Richard Borg. This is from Compass Games. And this brings the Commands and Colors universe to the Revolutionary War. Lots of scenarios. Looks like there's some differences. Looks like units aren't quite as big. It's going to be blocks with stickers. My biggest concern with this one is it just doesn't look very impressive. I mean, what I mean by that is it looks like it's one of the older war games in its style and look, and I wish it looked nicer. However, American Revolutionary War, pretty neat idea, and mixing it with the Commands and Color system sounds pretty good. Button Men. This first came out from Cheap Pass Games in 1999, so it's the 18th year anniversary special edition. This one is essentially you get special characters and then you roll dice and use those dice to capture each other's dice. It's a really simple game, but it used to be a really big thing at conventions because you would have a button that you would walk around with your different stats and dice, and you could challenge someone else, and I think there was hundreds of different characters for this. Well, this puts it all in one big box set with dice and stuff. I wonder if it's overpriced for what it is, but we'll have to wait and see. Sedis, it looks like it's a game building system. They're like, make your own rules, which is automatically I'm out, because the only make your own rule style game I ever saw that really worked well was the Ice House pieces. These are hexagonal tiles with dots around the sides, and they're like showing different games, and I'm thinking, I'd rather just have an actual game. But looks like some people like it. Trade Wars Homeworld Exterra Edition. This is a a competitive deck building, ship attacking game where you're flying ships around. It looks like there's role selection and scenarios. It actually looks really impressive. It looks grandiose. And I like a game to look grandiose as long as it doesn't take forever to play. But this one has a really neat, there's a lot of good graphics, a lot of good things involved with this one. So if the gameplay is good as it looks, then this one will be stellar. Then we're at Diceborn Heroes. This is a cooperative dice game. Now they're talking about this being an RPG experience where you're going through and rolling dice and fighting monsters. Although it looks like a board game too. I'm actually a little confused looking through it whether it's closer to a role-playing game or closer to a board game. I am a little... The art doesn't do anything for me in this one. I feel like it's not that great. It certainly has a different style than other art. But other than that, the concept and is interesting. I'm always a big fan of role-playing games brought to the board gaming world. If you use dice for that, I'm all there. Let's see, Card City XL. This is a city building game. It says there's 240 ways to play. Yeah, sure. But anyway, this here is from the same designer who did Card City. This is a bigger version of it. Town Center and Small City. Now, Town Center, remember, was like a game that used Legos, and it was like a 3D, you were looking at it, trying to figure out like a puzzle game. Small City, which was a misnomer since it was a very big game, was a game I wasn't really keen on because I liked the idea of it, but the game was just too cerebral for me and it lost the fun of the city building. I've heard good things about Card City, so I'm hoping that kind of bridges the gap between this, what's going on here, abstract, a little too cerebral to abstract, but just building it in. It says the game evolves. It looks really pretty, so we'll have to wait and see. MOA, this is from Ape Games, designed by Martin Wiles. Hasn't funded as of me recording this, which I'm kind of surprised because Martin Wiles does a lot of great games, and this one has amazing artwork. I'm really impressed with how this looks. You are bird tribes on an island that's basically part of New Zealand, and rats and ferrets and things are coming on, and you have to work with them, collaborate with them, which isn't the best thing to do, or fight them off. And it's obviously a very direct reference to colonialization using birds and animals with very cool artwork. So we'll have to wait and see. It's probably a heavier game than it looks, I would imagine. Zombie Tsunami has me interested for one reason. It's by Lucky Duck Games. Lucky Duck made Vikings Gone Wild, which was a tremendously cool game. This is their second game they've kickstarted here, and it comes with zombie cubes, which it looks like you roll. It's a party-style game. I'm not a huge zombie fan, but this one looks light and fun. They're talking about 30 minutes, betraying other people, working together against the zombies. All right, I'll take a look at that. Meeple Source has another upgrade set that they have out there. This one here is upgrades for Indonesia, and which obviously definitely needed some upgrades for it. Charterstone, which isn't even out yet. Pandemic. Colt Express. This is probably my favorite of the lot. I really like Colt Express and seeing these different wooden pieces and stuff to really kind of jazz up how Colt Express feels. I'm really keen on that one. And they did a lot of the Ryan Lockett games from Red Raven Games, Above and Below, and things like that. A lot of those. And they even did Catan, which I found surprising that they're able to get the license to do some new Catan pieces. Jazz up that old game. Let's take a look at Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. This is from Gameland Games, and shock of all shocks, it's neither tiny. Well, I was about to say neither tiny nor epic, but it definitely looks epic. It's clearly based on Warcraft. Clearly, Orcs vs. Humans, it has that look to it. And it's still it still has that same look as their smaller games, but it's much bigger with miniatures. And this one is rocking it on Kickstarter, doing extremely well. I hope the game is good. Scott Alms does a lot of small games. This is the first big game I can think of him doing. I'm curious. I'm hesitantly cautious on this one. Path of Light and Shadow. This is from Action Phase Games. The crew who did that, they're with Indie Boards and Cards. And Jonathan Gilmour, who's one of the designers of Walking Dead, Dead of Winter. So this is put together. This is a really big game. It's the biggest game this company has put out so far. It's called Path of Light and Shadow because in it you can be cruel or you can have mercy. You can upgrade cards. It's a deck building style game. I know Chaz Marler on our channel got a chance to play it just recently, and I heard that he really liked it. I'm really looking forward to trying this one out. I love the artwork on it. I like having characters in deck building games that can, increase and get better as time goes by. So the whole thing just really looks cool. Whew, that's a lot of news. Let's check in with some contributors.
Oh, hey, what's funding? Today we have just enough time to take a quick look at a game that's currently crowdfunding, and that game is Fruit de Mare. So here we're taking a look at Fruit de Mare, or Fruit of the Sea. Now in this game, players are going to be controlling multiple types of seafood, trying to take over this plate of pasta, and one of the things they're going to be trying to do is get their king crab to the center of the board. The game itself is played over a series of rounds with 3 phases in each round. The first phase will just be an income, and everyone is going to get 1 coin simply for being in the game, and then you're going to get coins depending on where you have your mussels and your scallops. From here, you're going to move into a recruitment phase. Now each player can only recruit at their starting location, so you can do a maximum of 2 at a spot. And you'll be recruiting off of this menu that comes with the game that tells you how many coins it costs to bring out a worker. When you do that, you'll just take one of these, and it's a shared pool, and you'll add it to a standee of your color and bring it out, and it will be available for that turn. After this, you're going to move into the action phase, and this is going to be mostly either move and attack or just attack, but you can't do attack and then move. And each character will have a specific number of move points, such as the mighty mussel here can move up to 2 spaces on a single turn. Attacks are pretty straightforward, with each character having a attack die value and a defense die value. So if this one was to attack this one, then he would get to roll his attack dice, he would get to roll his defend dice, and you would just resolve that with each character just having 1 hit point. The king crab is a little special though, in that he doesn't have any movement. What he can do is give motivational speeches once per turn, either costing or gaining pearls. He can have a maximum of 5 pearls, and it also acts as his hit point, so if he ever loses his last pearl, he is out of the game. Now that doesn't take you out of the game, because as I said, one way to win is to get this guy to the center. However, there are 2 other paths to victory. The other path to victory is to get any of these royal fruity. Get one of them to the center of the board with your color, and then at the start of your next turn, if it's still there, you have won the game. The other way to win is to simply eliminate all of your opponent's king crab while still retaining yours. If you meet either any of those victory conditions, you're the winner. So that's a look at Fruit de Mare. Now, the game is currently crowdfunding, and that is a prototype print and play copy, but I really enjoyed this. It scales well, and despite its cute nature and the fact that you could play this with kids, this is really a cleverly disguised war game. In a lot of ways, maybe an intro to war games. It has very simple mechanics, simple rules, but there's a lot of strategy. And I enjoyed the way that even having your king removed from the game doesn't remove you from the game. You could still win it. I hope this has given you an idea whether or not you might enjoy the game and basically how it's played. And I look forward to seeing you guys next time.
Hi everyone, I'm Stefan, the games teacher.
And I'm Tracy, the gaming maven. Honey, look what I backed.
Uh-oh.
Well, probably will back. So it's Game Upgrades 3.0.
From MeepleSource.
In fact, so this one is not necessarily game, but it's components to games. I'm very visual and very tactile. It really immerses me in the game when there's kind of nice pieces to work with and see and hold and use. And, well, you like to
Bling out my games.
You really do. He likes to bling out his games. So this one has a lot of games we already own. Catan Carcassonne, Above and Below, Islebound, and it especially has one that I'm really looking forward to getting, which is Charterstone from Stegmaier Games.
Ooh, cool.
Which is already a game I'm already looking forward to. So if I have these cool meeples to go with it, it's going to be absolutely fantastic.
Nice. Well, you know, maybe that's not a bad thing, because, honey, look what I backed. I'm backing Clans of Caledonia. Nice. This is a new one from Juma Al-Juju. It's going to be published by Karma Games, and it's a game that takes place in the start of the whiskey production revolution in Scotland. Scotland as a country has a special place in both of our hearts.
Yes, it's the first place we both went overseas, and you got to go again, and it's just a beautiful place. Of course, some historical family tree there as well, so I love it. So anything to do with Scotland.
Now the artwork in this is pretty fantastic. It's very reminiscent to me of the style of art in the Oh My Goods game.
Mm-hmm, it is.
I'm not sure
much
if it's
so.
the same artist, but if not, it's a very similar style. So if you're familiar with that game, check out the Kickstarter. It's only got a few days left on this one. So hopefully you'll be able to snag a copy through Kickstarter or when it hits retail if you're lucky.
Great game. So components, games, what could be better?
So tune in next episode when you'll hear us say once again,
Honey, look what I backed. And with that, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Board Game Social hosted
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Kickstart Your Collection. Today, we're going to take a look at a game called Donner Party. This small, weird, themed, quirky project is really what the essence of Kickstarter is all about. It's successfully funded. You can get a hold of this project by going to the company's website, which I'll provide to you. But this is a game where you will probably never find another one like it. That's what stood out to me, being a history buff. But let's take a look at the game and show you exactly what you're going to get. All right, the Donner Party, a 2 to 6 player card game, plays in about 30 minutes, published by BTRC. You can find them on Board Game Geek. This game is all about managing shame, because every action, every choice you make in this game has the potential of giving you shame. And at the end of the game, you want to be the person with the most surviving members of your party left. But if you are the person with the most amount of shame, you will automatically lose. And virtually every choice in this game has a potential to put you in that position. So you really need to, it's a press your luck. You're trying to manage how much shame you're getting. And you're also, it's a bidding game. And it's a competitive card playing game, but more importantly, it's a co-op card game, because as you play the game, you need to burn through these cards in order to get to the final rescue card, which triggers the end of the game. But those can only be bled through when you have healthy people. And so you need to, while you want to have the most surviving members, you need to make sure there are enough healthy people to get you through this deck before you die off as well. All right, so there you have it, the Donner Party. BTRC games, you can find them on the net. Check them out. This game, if you're a history buff, every one of these cards has a little bit of historical facts on there, a little bit of anecdotal stuff about the parties or the members, how they died, if they survived, so on and so forth. So again, the essence of Kickstarter right here in this box. Check them out. On behalf of Board Game Social and Board Game Buffet Podcast, take care of yourselves and your loved ones. See ya. Well, folks, today I just wanted to talk a little bit about the trailers that are on a project, a Kickstarter trailer and such. And I'm very curious as to what people look for in trailers. Now, some trailers are just basically the designer, the publisher, whatever. They come out and they're very earnest. Sometimes they're not very good. You know, it looks like they're in their closet somewhere and they're basically sitting there going, please back my game, please, support this game. Sometimes they are just showing pictures and things and talking about the game and you hear the person talking over the background. Sometimes it's a funny video, right? It's like a ha ha ha, and when you're done, you're really laughing. Sometimes they're really bad humor too, but sometimes they're funny humor and you're laughing and it's like silly and it's like, oh, what's this game all about? Then sometimes they show gameplay. Sometimes they look like movie trailers. That's the ones that actually made me think about this today, which brought this to my attention, was I take a look at these movie trailers and, they show spaceships flying around. There's animation in them. And I'm like, wow, is this in the game? No, not really. I mean, there's some artwork on the cards, but they make this thing look very grandiose, sometimes at the expense of the gameplay itself. I think for me, I want to see, I'm not opposed to that cool, and I love backstory. We just put up a poster in the Dice Tower that says theme does matter, because theme does matter. But theme can't come at expensive gameplay. If I sit there and like, ooh, that's cool. Is this a cartoon or is this a game? I hope that it's a game. I want to see what the game is about. So for me, I don't mind a personal appeal from the designer. That's good, because I like it. Kind of makes me attached to the person that I'm backing. And I certainly don't mind the whole, animation and explosions and all. But then I want to see kind of what's in the game. I know underneath you'll say this is what you get in the box and there's miniatures. But sometimes seeing the pieces move around and stuff, or just kind of giving me a general overview of the game, will help out a lot. My question to you guys is, what are you looking for in a trailer? Do you want the person to come out there and you have a connection with them where they're saying, please back my game, please, I want you to be involved with me? Is that what you're looking for? Or you don't even care about the trailer, you just go read the description. There's people like that. Or maybe you want to see gameplay. Or maybe you really are got up by the expensive trailer. Sometimes these trailers, I'm like, wow, you guys put so much money in that trailer. Could put it into the game instead. But, what are you looking for in a trailer? Do you want that one-on-one with the designer? Or do you want to see a big overview of the game? or do you like the wee explosion type things that some show you? Let me know in the comments. Tell me about that. All right, well, let's go to someone smarter than me.
Hi, this is Jamey from Stegmaier Games, and as I continue my series about Kickstarter, and especially the things that you think about before you launch a Kickstarter campaign, I'm going to talk about today the top 6 benefits of crowdfunding. This comes from a blog entry I wrote called To Kickstart or Not to Kickstart, the top 10 reasons to launch a product via crowdfunding. I'm going to narrow those down to 6 for the sake of this video. So crowdfunding, inherently in the word, is the word funding. So most people, I think, when they think of crowdfunding and Kickstarter, they think of the money. And that is a major benefit. If you don't have the funds, or your cash flow isn't strong, or you want to devote your cash flow to one thing and not another, or maybe you're having to spend a lot of your personal expenses and you don't want to put them at risk, crowdfunding is excellent for that. That's number 1, to raise funds. But there are 5 other really, really good reasons, really good benefits of running a crowdfunding campaign. I wanted to run down there real quick. 1 is building community. It's an amazing platform for building a community of people who are passionate about the same thing. 2, maybe the biggest, in my opinion, is gauging demand. Making sure that you make enough of the first print run of any product to meet demand, and that you don't make too much that vastly exceeds demand and you have a ton of games sitting in a warehouse or your garage. 3, crowdfunding is really good. Am I already on 3? 4 is raising awareness. Raising awareness of a product. Kickstarter is really good at this, or crowdfunding is really good at this, because you have a certain urgency around the project. Everyone's focused on the campaign right now. It helps you raise awareness. This is marketing promotion. 4, you can improve the product via stretch goals. I'll talk more about stretch goals in a future video, probably several videos. But it's really nice that you can start off with a base level of product, and as your economies of scale change, you can improve the product. And also you can improve the product through the community aspect of people offering different opinions and thoughts. And last is shipping efficiency. Kickstarter allows you to know exactly where each of your customers are, so you can ship in bulk to different regions and then ship within those regions to those customers, which decreases the cost for you and for those customers to receive those products via fulfillment. Those are the top 6 benefits of crowdfunding. Thanks.
Hey everyone, I'm Mandy.
Hi guys, I'm Carol.
And today we are going to be looking at Kickstarters that need a little love, or, well, we just love. So let's start with you, Carol. What have you got for us?
So this week, I'm going to be sending over some love to Alone by Horrible Games. And trust me, it's not a horrible game. Alone is an asymmetric one versus many board game sci-fi dungeon crawler with a twist. One player plays a hero, while the other players are the evil masterminds, trying to prevent the hero from achieving their objective. With only a flashlight, the hero is limited in the visible tiles they can see, forcing them to memorize the map. With different scenarios and outcomes that affect future scenarios, Alone is easily my pick because I love asymmetric games like Letters from Whitechapel. And Alone is by the same company that brought us Potion Explosion and Raise Your Goblets.
I'm always a little weary of those kind of games, like, when you're one against many, that sort of thing. But some of the other ones you've mentioned, Potion Explosion and Letters to Whitechapel, are awesome. So this sounds like it could be a winner. So for me, I decided to pick MOA, which is by Martin Wallace, published by 8 Games, and it's a 3 to 5 player game, which I kind of went, 3 players. Usually I nix that, but I said, let's give it a go. So MOA is a fantasy interpretation of the clash between the original inhabitants of New Zealand and the wave of settlers from over the seas. The inhabitants are birds, reimagined with human traits. So lots of good stuff in this game. Players can take on the role of the defenders of the land. You can compete with fellow players for control of regions. You can sell your land to mammals rather than fighting to defend it. You can also have various ways for bird tribes to take control of territories. And you can use terrain cards, which can cause mammals to invade territories. So there are lots of attacking birds, mammals. I don't know, it just caught my eye. Something like this is interesting to me because it's a Martin Wallace game, which we all know and love, that he does some great games. And the whole art with the birds and the mammals, I don't know, that just appealed to me. So what do you think about this one?
I love any game where I'm playing an animal, so this one's going to be a look for me for sure.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see how it goes with 3 to 5 players, but definitely something that caught my eye. So our choices for Kickstarter this week, Alone and Moa. So check them out, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey there folks, this is Graham Anderson. In this Uncovered Corner, I'm going to be looking at a quick dexterity game called 4 Elements. Now a game my family really enjoys is called Flick 'em Up. It's a Western style game in which you're flicking a disc across the table to try and knock over your opponent's pieces. Another game in the same vein that we enjoy is called Rampage. Now it's called Terror in Maple City. But you're flicking a disc on that to try and knock over buildings. Now I do like games in this vein, but there has to be some gameplay to them, not just mindless flicking, and I almost passed over 4 Elements because it looked like a mindless flicking game. Sure, the pieces look great and it comes in a nice woodcut box with all the rules printed on the side. Each element has 3 different types of pieces. You have blockers, which are used for defense, you have a lord, which you want to protect, and you have element pieces, which will be flicking across the table to try and knock the other lord off the table. And the gameplay really is that simple. You lay them all out, you want to protect your lord, and you're flicking the elements across the table to try and knock off the other person's lord, and the first person's lord to fall off is the loser. Sounds like a simple, boring game. But it's not. See, all the element pieces fit together, and how you place them on the table is completely up to you. You want to build a tower and put your lord on top? You could do that. You want to try and build a vertical wall out of your blocking pieces and hide your lord behind that? You can do that too. And that's what's really intriguing, because each element has a different set of pieces that will all work together. And that is what I find fascinating about this project. Now I'm really looking forward to getting this to the table with my family, because I'm intrigued by what they're going to build. And I think that is a really interesting aspect of this game. You actually get to build something before you try and figure out how to get someone else's lord off the table. Now this game is on Kickstarter until May 30th. And again, I have not played, and I make no assertions about the final product, but it did sound interesting to me. And if it sounds interesting to you, please check out 4 Elements physical game on Kickstarter.
Okay, folks, well, that is it for this time. Thanks for watching Crowdfunding, where we talk about all these things. We'll be back in a couple weeks. We'll try to find these different things and just give you our uninformed, but also unsolicited opinions about these games. Always, if you see something that interests you, I certainly have no problem with people emailing me and telling me about it or posting in the comments below. It's fun to talk about these. I hope some of these games come out and become great games in the future. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell, and this has been Crowd Surfing.